Well, we are getting right after the second cutting today. This is our second day into chopping second cutting. We got rained off here yesterday. It kind of drizzled rain all day. And we kind of sat still. So Jared's got the green Mac on the black Moss trailer. He had the 900 here on here. He had the 900 on this the other day. If you recall, in a video or two ago, he ended up putting these skid steer treads on his truck here for tires. So what they are is a 315/50, I think they are, or a 315/80 R22.5, and what they are is mounted on 9-inch rims. And then what it does is it gets the tire a little closer together, so you don't have as wide of a gap as a traditional dual has. And they're supposed to offer a little more flotation than the regular truck tires do. They are recapped with a skid steer tread for added traction. And we're going to try these out. Some guys in the neighborhood run them. They're going to be an alternative to using the flotation tires that we're using on the other trucks. The beauty with these tires here is you can actually carry a little more weight, and they're a little bit of a harder rubber. They're maybe not as, they don't maybe offer as much flotation in the muddy conditions, but they do add a lot more traction than your traditional tires do. We've got the white Peterbilt on the red Moss trailer. Hainsworth ended up putting a hydraulic system on that. We did use that here 2 days ago, the first day we started. And that has an unload time of anywhere, the best time they got was 45 seconds. And the longest unload time is right at about a minute. It's the same amount or the same unload time as what we are getting out of the hydraulic systems that we put on. Jared has a Parker pump on this Mac, along with a commercial DVG 35 hydraulic control valve. He actually has that mounted right on this side of the frame. And if you recall, when we did that hydraulic system on my uncle's truck and the two automatics, we put the same hydraulic system on them as well. So we're going to keep at it here. We've got about 80 acres left in this field. And Andrew and Davey, they're merging down in the valley here right now. They're just about done there. And they'll be moving on to Camilla. So we've got a little bit of a smoke show there with the old Mac. Jared's got that turned up just a wee little bit. That's got a 3406B in it. And it runs pretty good. So we'll keep her lit. We've got Sarge running the white Peterbilt with the red Moss trailer. You can see him over in the other field there. It's there's an open ditch in between these two fields, and Sarah's just pulling into the far field on the other side of the hedgerow. So we'll keep her going here. You got Mike and truck 18, and you can see this one's got the 331 Alliance tractor treads. Well, we're loading the red Moss trailer here right now. We've got that just about loaded. We've got the white Peterbilt truck on this trailer. This field that we're chopping here right now is on the west side of Route 81. And this is the field that I had Trump 2020 planted into and with the corn here a couple of years ago. So we'll drop a picture of what that looked like 2 years ago about right now. And we've got just a couple of loads left here, and then we are going to be moving down into the valley. Got Alex that we're loading right now, and we'll just keep on moving on here. Well, we are getting ready to start day number 3, chopping second cotton. However, we have a problem with the magnet here on the chopper. We've been dealing with some issues here. We dealt with a couple of issues during second cutting, and now we're dealing with it during first cutting rather. Now we're dealing with it during second. We got this code here, 521106 cutter head control unit. It's telling us that the self-test of the metal detector failed. So we have had some issues, and we'll get into talking about that here in a minute. I'm just lifting up the head. We're going to go ahead and get into pulling the bottom feed roll and putting a new magnet in. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started with it, and then we'll discuss what led up to diagnosing and determining that we actually needed to replace the magnet. Well, we're going to go ahead and dive into this project. It's just about 4 o'clock in the morning. I want to be chopping here by 9:30. My nephews are feeding cows, and we're going to go ahead and get this magnet replaced on this chopper. And hopefully this project goes relatively easy here. This chopper has metal alert on it, and the metal alert system, what it has is a magnet that's inside that bottom feed roll. You don't want metal going into your feed, because any metal that goes in through the chopper for the most part, if it's small enough, like wire or something like that, it's going to chop that up into fine pieces, and you'll end up killing cows if wire or something like that gets into your feed. And then anything bigger than that, you can actually do a lot of damage to the chopper, so you want to keep the metal out of the feed. In order to keep the metal out of the feed, you have to have a metal alert, the system that's on the chopper, and that's what we're going to be replacing here now, is the magnet that detects the metal as it enters in through these feed rolls here. So the magnet sits in that bottom roll. It's over here on the parts cart. It's about 30 inches long, I guess. And that sits in that bottom feed roll there, plugs in over here on this left side. In order to get that in, we have to remove the actual feed roll. So we're going to go ahead and get into doing that. We've got to take a lot of stuff off the front of the chopper here, and we'll go ahead and get started, and hopefully it doesn't take us too long to do it. Well, we've got basically everything removed from the chopper that will enable us to get this bottom feed roll out. I had a little trouble getting a couple of these bolts out here. We're able to get the roll strapped up out of the way. I thought sure the top roll was going to have to come out, but that's not the case. So we've got the bolts out of the drive on the bottom feed roll, and then we've got the there's a block on this one side that holds it down, and then we've got a knock sensor in there, and then we've got the wires for the actual magnet itself. So we need to get that roll lifted out, and then we'll take that end off and put the magnet into it. So we've got a little bit more to pull off here, and then we'll get to swapping that magnet out. Alright, so we have the magnet removed, the old one. I'm going to take the bolts out. There's 3 bolts that hold it on that main shaft that goes across the actual roll itself. And then what's inside here is it's energized with current. I think there's like 3 coils or something in there. And when metal hits the roll, it draws a little juice or something on the coil. And then it recognizes that the current has changed, and then it'll stop the actual drive clutch on the feed rolls. That's basically about how that works, to describe it simply here. There's something wrong inside this magnet. It's the original one. Now, we have had in the past, haven't had it to this chopper yet, we'll keep our fingers crossed. We have had, on the other chopper, we had a stone go in, and it stoved in the feed roll. Now this magnet sits inside the feed roll, and there's maybe, I don't know, maybe like that much clearance between the magnet and the roll itself, and we stoved in the roll just enough to where it came around and it hit the actual magnet itself, and it ended up making the magnet turn with the feed roll, and it ended up twisting the wires off, and we had no magnet. So this feed roll was new this year. This is in decent shape compared to the feed rolls that we've replaced here in the past. We have had these rasp bars all monkeyed up and screwed up, and it just, the amount of rocks that we're dealing with, you kind of have to replace that from time to time. So we'll just pull this old magnet off, put the new one on, and then we can start reassembling everything. What do you think? It started to go kind of rough. I guess you could reach in and just grab that. Take that way. Move it off a little bit. Yeah, I'm hitting that right there. Yeah, let me get these bolts in first. All right, we've got this all back together. We started it up and it works. Got these guys all waiting for me. They're always waiting for me to get my job ready to go here. So we're just gonna put the front header structure on the machine. Got some sheet metal to put on there. And then we're gonna get going. Right, Bob?
Yeah, we're going.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. This just sets on them wheels. There's a couple of 45s on there. Did that side go on the wheel? Go down? Up, yeah. On that. Should be good, I think. Just got to sharpen the knives quick. Garrett's going to finish washing the windows and we're going to get after it. Jared's going to run the 900 today. We got a little more road travel. Tires work decent. Got into some mud yesterday to test them out. We'll put the real test on those tires here when we start doing silage. So we will be pulling out of here in a minute, headed to the field. Well, we are gonna get underway here. Magnet is working. As soon as we got the magnet plugged in, you know, it acknowledged that it had a magnet that worked. Prior to this problem that we had, it would trip the code just as soon as you started the chopper up to tell you that you didn't have a magnet that worked. Now, we had started to see problems with the magnet in the last couple days of chopping first cotton. We one morning, I got the knife sharpened, and I went to start up after we got the knife sharpened to pull away from the shop, and I had a code come up saying that the magnet wasn't working. So I called Jake, and he said, well, you can try, you know, looking at the wire harness, unplug it, plug it back in, so on and so forth. We did that, and it worked fine. On the last day of first cutting, I pulled into the last field that was only 10 or 12 acres, and as soon as I pulled in the field, I got a message saying the magnet didn't work. So we screwed around with it for a little while and couldn't get it to come back online, so we just chopped without the magnet. I did not want to do that. However, I wanted to get done before it got raining. So I figured we would look at it before we got chopping second cutting. I put knives in the chopper. After I got the knives in the chopper, started the chopper up, magnet worked. Of course, after I got the knives in, I screwed around with the wire harness for the magnet. I made sure all the connections were clean, and I figured I had it. On the first day of chopping second cutting, I got about 3 hours into the day, had a problem with the magnet. Didn't work. So I called Jake, and he said that it might have something to do with the ground or something on the chopper. So he said unhook the one of the knock sensors and gets power from that knock sensor, and we did that. And I thought it worked for a bit of a while, then it quit. Then he came back the next morning, or came the next morning, and we looked at everything. Of course, the magnet was working then, and we checked everything out on it, checked the wire harness, checked the grounds, took the ground straps apart, cleaned them off, and checked the wire harness going into the magnet, and it appeared that the plugging the magnet in was unclipped on one side a little bit. We didn't know if maybe it was getting a bad connection from that. And then yesterday, being the second day of chopping second cutting, I made it in a couple hours into the day, and then the magnet quit. And we chopped quite a while without the magnet. We tried a few things. He told me what wires to check to see if I had power going to the magnet. We did have power going to the magnet, and we had a good ground going to the magnet. So Garrett ended up going down to their Cortland store. They had a magnet on the shelf there. He picked the magnet up, brought it to the field. We plugged the new magnet in, and the chopper had acknowledged that it had a functioning magnet. So we knew we had, up to that point, that we had a good wire harness going to the magnet, and we had figured that it did actually need the magnet. So I ended up plugging the magnet, the original magnet, back in, and I was able to chop the rest of the night with the original magnet functioning. We were starting to scratch our heads a little bit, and then lo and behold, when I pulled in the dooryard last night, the code went off saying that the magnet was no good, and it still wasn't working here. First thing this morning, we went to tear into this, and now we're good to go. So that should, the camera I think kicked off there for a hot second. I don't know if it's working or not here, but at any rate, the magnet is functioning and we are rolling here. So that's gonna do it for this video. If we have any more problems with this magnet, we'll bring it here anyways, and we'll video some more.